maybe the most underrated receiver in the history of the game. If Aaron Rodgers is half of the old A-Rod, Garrett Wilson's going to explode.
He had a 34% target share.
He was top 10 in all those major categories. Throw the rock around.
They're definitely gonna.
Like it's backyard football at the elementary school. 1A, 1B type here. You can't go wrong with either of these two guys. Mm-hmm. Watch out. He's probably going to break that record.
He's going to try to break it.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Catching a Vibe. I'm your host, Drew, and today I'm joined once again by my dad. Dad, how are we doing today?
Good, excellent. Happy to be back again.
Okay, so boys, the past 2 weeks we've gone over the quarterbacks, and last week we did the running backs. This week we are doing receivers, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of different guys in our top 15.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so hard to choose. Some of these guys are within a couple points from each other. Mm-hmm. You know, that you get in those middle tiered guys are so close to each other. It's hard to choose, so you just got to do some homework and figure out who you like best. So.
Yep. And last week, you boys commented down what picks you liked or where you would put guys at. Feel free to do that.
We'd love to hear from
you guys.
Love
your opinions.
Input. You know, maybe you guys have a list. You can put that on there. Yeah. I mean, it would be nice just to start communicating and see how everybody else feels and thinks. So
For sure. All right, number 15 to start us off. Who you got?
So my number 15, like I said, these guys are all really close, so it's hard to choose from, but I'm going to go with Drake London from Atlanta. I just think he's getting an upgrade with, Kirk Cousins there, so he's 15.
My number 15, I'm going with DJ Moore, who just got paid and rightfully deserves it. So I'm going 15.
All right. My 14, Mike Evans, Old Faithful. I think the guy's put 1,000 yards up every year he's been in the league. So I like his situation. I think he's still got some juice left. So I'm going with him.
All right. Number 14 for me, I'm going Jalen Waddle. Last year it was kind of a disappointment, but I feel like he's going to get back on track where he was in 2022, a top 15 receiver in fantasy.
Yeah. My 13 is going to be Michael Pittman. I think he's going to have another big year like he did last year. He dominates the targets for his team. So
right. Okay, my number 13 here. This might be a little disrespectful. I'm going Davante Adams here. Just not in a high volume passing team with the Raiders. I mean, AOC and Minshew, you could find those guys at Planet Fitness. So I'm going Davante at 13 there.
Okay. So my number 12 is going to be Chris Olave. Just think that he's their best option down there. He's going to get, again, the target volume. So he's 12.
My number 12 is another Ohio State guy. I'm going Marvin Harrison here. 4 out of the last 5 years, there's been a rookie receiver in the top 10. Puka last year, Jamar in 2021, Jefferson 2020, and A.J. Brown 2019. So I think that trend continues.
Okay. My 11 is going to be DJ Moore. He had a solid year last year. He's getting I think maybe a slight upgrade at QB, but and he plays the slot a lot, so he'll get a lot of looks.
Yep. My 11 here, I am going Brandon Ayuk. Ayuk has shown flashes since his rookie year. Last year, he put it all together in limited opportunities, 75 catches, 1,300 yards, 7 touchdowns. He's in a great offense. I have him at 11 there.
Okay. So the top 10.
Top 10 here.
All right. My 10 is going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. I put him in there based on, I think he's in a good situation. I love the kid coming out of Ohio State.
Yeah.
He's got that pedigree from his dad being a Hall of Famer, his size, his speed, great hands. Kyler Murray's back. I think they're going to be a lot better offensively. We just got to see how he handles the NFL as far as week in and week out. You're going to have better coverage than you did when you played at Ohio State. So see how he handles it. But I really like the situation there. And plus, there's not really anybody number one receiver there. So he's coming in to being a number one receiver there. So I think he's going to be a target monster, I think, there.
Yeah.
So that's
He
why I have him at
is
10.
the clear number one in Arizona. So that's a great pick. My number 10 here is Puka. Broke the rookie record for most yards in a game, 164, 105 catches, 1,486 yards, 6 touchdowns, 160 targets. It's the same coach, same quarterback. Maybe Cooper Kupp stays healthy this year and takes a little bit away from Puka. I could easily see both of them being in the top 20.
Mm-hmm.
Just the thing that scares me is Puka in the first round. I don't know if
Yeah.
I'm ready to draft Puka in the first round
Right.
when we've seen Stafford and Kupp dominate. And
Yeah.
Kupp could easily bounce back this year.
Yeah, I think he wants his title back.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna, steal a lot of volume from Puka, but I mean he's a great receiver, no doubt about it. So
Number 9.
My number 9's Davante Adams. Look, this guy still is probably the best route runner in the league. Speed, great hands. You don't ever see him dropping the ball. He's dominates targets for this team. Now I know their quarterbacks aren't very good, but I think they're still going to try to get him the ball. Now his stats, he had 175 targets last year. 175. That's the second most. So he had 103 receptions, still great, over 100 receptions, awesome. 1,100 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns. He had 31% target share, which is they're looking his way every play. They want to get him the ball. He is their guy. So I still can't. I can't drop him out of the top 10. He's still good. So I like Davante Adams.
I like that pick. And the best part about Davante is he might get traded to the Jets.
Exactly.
If he gets traded to the Jets, he is a clear top 10, maybe top 5 fantasy receiver.
Yeah, there's that possibility that a midseason trade, that he gets to go play with Aaron Rodgers again.
Play with
how that
buddy.
worked out.
Right. So. Okay, number 9 for me, I'm going Nico Collins. I would say him or Puka was the 2 biggest surprises in the receiver position last year. First 2 years, Nico Collins averaged 400 yards and 2 touchdowns. Then last year, he just exploded for 80 catches, 1,300 yards, and 8 touchdowns. That's the Stroud effect. Stroud, he's probably going to get better in his second year in the league. The only thing you have to worry about is the target share with him, Diggs, and Tank Dell, and Dalton Schultz, who's a solid tight end. But I think Nico's the clear number 1, and I'm interested to see how that Texans offense flows this year.
He's their deep threat. He's got the size, the speed. So I like him best out of the bunch. Yeah. I think he's going to get the deep targets. So I agree. I like him. My number 8 is going to be Puka Nacua. This kid had the best rookie debut of all time. Most catches and yards in a rookie season. So, he's in a great situation. Yeah, you talked about Kupp's there, and I think Kupp might take some of his production away, and that's kind of why they dropped him back down from 8 because he would have been higher. Mm-hmm. But I'm a little worried about, Kupp. So, this guy had, 27% target share, 10 end zone targets. So he ranked 4th PPR for the season the way he finished, and 6 PPR per game. So, he had a great season. He had 160 targets, 105 catches, 1,400 yards receiving, 6 TDs. He averaged 87 yards a game. So he has all those great numbers. Just hope they don't dip too much. That's kind of why I put him at 8.
Yeah, I like that. My number 8 is the first ballot Hall of Famer, Mr. 1000. I'm going Mike Evans here, Maybe the most underrated receiver in the history of the game.
Yes.
Because he doesn't get that praise as much as, some other receivers. 8 straight 1,000 yards. Nobody's ever done that. Yeah. Last year, he had 79 catches, 1,255 yards, 13 touchdowns. He was tied for first in touchdowns. he's maybe the most reliable receiver outside the top
Absolutely.
5, the tier
Absolutely.
1 receivers. So I'm going Mike Evans at 8. I think he's going to have another good year. He's in his 30s now, but I could still see him dominate this year again.
I agree. He's a good pick. I mean, yeah, he's 1,000 yards. Lock it in.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
And he gets a lot of touchdowns too.
Yep. Yep. He does. So, all right. My number 7 is going to be Garrett Wilson. Just great, talented young kid. The great part is he's getting Aaron Rodgers back. So
we hope.
Yeah, we hope he can last longer than 4 plays.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's getting one of the most accurate QBs. So he's going to have opportunities galore. To me, he had 168 targets last year, 95 catches. So, I mean, Zach Wilson's was throwing it more in the stands than he was at Garrett Wilson. I mean, come on, this guy is a great receiver. He had just over 1,000 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns. That's going to come up with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
He's going to feed him the ball. He's going to throw him downfield. Garrett Wilson is a 4.3 speed. I think this kid's just going to blaze down the field. I think he's ready to tear it up. So I'm kind of excited to see what Garrett Wilson can really do with a good quarterback at the helm. So.
Me too. Felt bad for the boy the past couple of years. My number 7 here, I'm going AJ Brown though. Top 10 in yards with 1,456, catches 106, targets 152. The Eagles struggled big time towards the end of the year. I think that gets fixed. A new OC, Kevin Moore, with the addition of Saquon, should make the offense better. And he averages 17 a game the past 3 out of 4 years in fantasy. So I have AJ Brown at 7.
Okay, very good. He's my number 6, AJ Brown. I mean, this guy has good size. I mean, he's a big-bodied receiver, good speed, great offense. He's got opportunities galore to score there. Like you said, you went over his stats: 158 targets, love it. 106 receptions. He had 289 fantasy points last year. That's 17 per contest, per game. 14 end zone targets. So you got to love that when they get down in the red zone, they're going to throw the ball to him. He's their favorite target down there. So, yeah, I pretty excited about AJ Brown.
Yeah. My number 6, we're a little flip-flop here. I'm going Garrett Wilson. Like I said, Zach Wilson couldn't beat out a JV quarterback at your local D3 high school, and the other quarterbacks he had last year were bagging groceries at your local Walmart.
Sure.
If Aaron Rodgers is half of the old A-Rod, Garrett Wilson's going to explode. I saw a stat that said that every year Rodgers is healthy, he has a top 10 receiver. It dates back to Jordy Nelson, then Devontae, Randall Cobb, all those guys, even James Jones, who had the big touchdown year.
Yeah.
He was in the top 10 back then. Garrett Wilson will have over 1,000 yards, and he's going to get more than 3 touchdowns. That's a guarantee. So bet the parlay that Garrett Wilson is scoring more than 3 touchdowns this year.
Right.
So Garrett Wilson's at 6.
All right. So this guy, probably everybody's going to go, why so low, whatever. Going with Justin Jefferson. It's not based on his talent, because he's probably the most talented guy out there. Great size, go up and get the catch. I mean, he's got great jump, great hands. He can go get the ball. The only thing is unknown at quarterback. Sam Darnold, really? That's your best option to throw JJ the ball? Or JJ McCarthy, who threw 10 passes all season last year from Michigan?
Yeah.
I got to scale him back a little bit. I mean, he's gonna have a good season, but I'm not really sure if I can put him up higher than that. Now, in 2022, this is kind of crazy. He had 184 targets. That is ridiculous. 128 receptions. This was 2 years ago. This wasn't last year. This this guy commands so much, 28% target share. So Justin Jefferson is, I think, pretty good. Now, past year, he only played 10 games.
Mm-hmm.
In 10 games, he had 100 targets, 68 receptions, over 1,000 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So, I mean, clearly he's probably the most talented guy, but the situation, I got to drop him back a little bit because of the situation he's in with QB.
Mm-hmm. I 100% agree with you. I have Jefferson at 5 too. Like you said, just quarterback scares you, and you need a good quarterback for a receiver that you're drafting in the top 4. Like, I wouldn't be comfortable drafting Jefferson in the top 4 in fantasy this year just because Darnold and JJ. I love Jefferson. He's probably the best receiver in the league.
Sure.
Easily you can debate he is, but like you said, last year he had 1,000 yards in 10 games, and 2 of them he got hurt. Got hurt in the Raiders game.
Yeah.
Josh Dobbs threw him a pass 50 feet up in there and got him killed.
Yeah.
Then he pulled his hamstring in the Chiefs game.
Yeah.
So just, I don't know. Maybe he can shock the world and beat the receiver one this year. I don't see it with
the thing. I
the
think
question mark.
Kevin O'Connell is gonna have a game plan where they feed him the ball.
Absolutely.
So now, can these guys get him the ball? Is the question. So if they can get him the ball and open the field up, and because everyone's gonna double cover him.
Yeah.
So I just see the other guys ahead of him, I think, have better situations.
Oh, they absolutely do.
My number 4, Ja'Marr Chase. I think he's going to have a great year. He's another guy that has great hands and speed. Getting Joe Burrow back, I think they're going to connect a ton downfield. Great situation. It's better than JJ, so that's why I bumped him ahead of him. Last year he had 145 targets, 100 receptions, 1,200 yards, 7 TDs. This guy's factored in a lot of their game plan, and I think he's going to have a good year. That's why I put him at 4.
Mm-hmm. My number 4, I'm going Amon-Ra St. Brown, the slot god, 158 targets, over 100 catches, 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns. He was top 10 in all of those major categories, and that's what you left here. Averaged 12 yards per catch, averaged 20 points per game. The offense was 5th in points, 2nd in red zone scoring, and he was 9th in targets in the red zone. I mean, that's what you want. They got Jared Goff coming back. They got Ben Johnson, the OC, coming back. I mean, he's going to explode again if he stays healthy this year.
I think so. I agree. And I agree so much. I think he's my number 3.
Yeah.
He's on a team that is ready to go far as they can. I mean, they're a much better team. They got a good quarterback. He does play slot where he's going to get a lot of targets. Very shifty, very quick, underneath dump-off passes. He plays through injuries. This guy was injured and still went out there and played. You got to love that. He's not sitting on the sideline with a toenail injury. Yeah. So I like him. 164 targets last year, 119 receptions, 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns. 94 points or yards per game, and he averaged over 20 points per game in PPR. He finished 3rd on the year with the most points. So, and he averages about a 30% target share. So this guy's primed, ready to go, and that's why I think he's deserving in the 3rd spot. I had to put him ahead of those guys behind him. He's going to have a great season.
Yeah. My number 3, I'm going Ja'Marr Chase. This is his 4th season, and I expect this to be the big one. Maybe his best one. Burrow's coming back. Tyler Boyd's gone, and Joe Mixon. The Bengals are just going to throw the rock around.
They're definitely going.
Like it's backyard football at the elementary school. Ja'Marr is such a boom player. Last year, he had games of 52 points and 31, 26, 25. He got screwed when Burrow got hurt, but I think Burrow is going to like make people remember how good he is, and this Bengals team is going to be fighting for the playoffs, and they're going to be throwing the ball around. Last
Yeah.
year he had 7 touchdowns, the fewest in his career. Rookie year had 13, second year had 9, and last year he had 7. He's going to get double digits touchdowns this year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I have Jamar at 3.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I struggle with these two guys
Yeah,
here.
this is
I
tough.
mean, it was tough to decide. My number 2 is Tyreek Hill. What can you say about him? Amazing speed, great route runner, good hands. I mean, this guy catches the ball. They throw it out there and he's grabbing it. I mean, they throw some stretcher balls and he's going in grabbing it. I really like him. Uh, Last 2 years, he's finished second, and with the most yards, PPR points. I think he's ready to go. I just struggled with putting him because I think uh, Waddle, if he stays healthy, he's going to chew away some of those stats where he's not going to dominate all of it. But, I do think he's going to get his share. He had 171 targets, 119 catches. He was on pace to smash the single season receiving yards. He got banged up and missed, and then the last couple games, I don't think he was healthy. So he finished up almost 1,800 yards. That's 112 per game. He was at 23.3 fantasy points a game. I mean, this guy literally lit it up. He had a 34% target share. I mean, this guy they are looking his way every time.
If they're passing the ball, it's going to Tyreek.
So, I mean, he had 12 end zone targets. This guy is I think he's in line to have another great year.
Yeah.
So I had to put him at 2.
Yeah. I agree so much with you. I'm putting him at 2. I mean, let's be honest. This is like 1A, 1B type here. You can't go wrong with either of these two guys.
Mm-hmm.
Tyreek is a defensive back worst nightmare.
Hmm.
If you press him, he's going to run right past you. If
Yep.
you play off, he's going to cut right in front of you on slants, digs, crossing routes, whatever. He can take it any route to the house if you just get him the ball. First 8 games last year, he averaged 26 a game, and he has the best chance at the receivers, I think, to get 2,000 yards receiving. Back-to-back years, he's had over 1,700 yards. If he stays healthy this year, watch out. He's probably going to break that
He's
record.
going to try to break it.
Oh, absolutely.
So. I think they're going to try to get
how close he's gotten the past 2 years. I think he's aiming for Megatons.
I mean, at the beginning of the year, he was on pace to shatter it.
Yeah.
And he kind of got slowed down towards the end of the year. So I agree. My number 1, CeeDee Lamb. It's hard not to put him at 1 in a PPR format. The situation he's in is that he's going to be the target monster. And Dallas is going to throw the ball a ton. Look at the running back room. There's no one really there. I mean, Zeke might just help out a little bit, but they're going to have to throw the ball. He wants that big contract, big money. CeeDee Lamb stats, 135 receptions, 181 targets. I think he had the most targets in the year. He had 1,750 yards receiving, 14 touchdowns, 23.7 points per game. He had 23 end zone targets. He led that. I mean, every time they get down there, they're looking his way to feed him the ball. This guy is another guy that commands so much, 30% target share. I mean, he's going to get fed a ton this year. He's going to have a great, solid year.
Number 1, CeeDee Lamb. I mean, purely because he was top 2 in targets, receptions, yards, and touchdowns. I mean, he has no competition in that receiving room. Brandon Cooks, who's their receiver too, he averaged about 4 catches a game. They have Jake Ferguson, who's a good tight end, but I mean, there's no real threat for CeeDee Lamb's targets to go away. So he's going to dominate. He even might get 150 catches this year because they can't run the ball, and they're in a tough division. You know, the Eagles are going to be fighting for first. Maybe Washington gets a little bit better this year, and the Giants, I don't know, going to be the worst, but they might score some points. You know, it's a division rival. Um, yeah, CD Lamb at 1 there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's hard between those two, but Lamb gets the notch up just because Hill, I think, is going to share a little bit with
Oh, absolutely.
Waddle, who
Yeah,
a lot of people have him in the top 15.
I
So,
I'm one of them.
so yeah, it's hard not to with the percentage that he's going to get the ball
Hmm.
thrown his way. So, yeah, that was fun. I mean, we had some difference of opinions there, and
Right.
some of these guys are within a couple points, so it's hard. It's
Mm,
just situational is where you gotta pick the difference.
yeah,
So
I changed my list about like 5 different times because I was like, should I have him here or have this guy in the list? He got kicked off the list. It's a receiver. I mean, receivers are very hard to rank because
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean they just score so many points nowadays.
yeah. And the thing to me is how fantasy football has changed.
Hmm.
It used to be when you got in there, you draft running backs, running back heavy. Now you're seeing where these PPR format where receivers are dominating the
Yeah.
first round. So, it's the fantasy has changed a little bit. So now these receivers are like gold to have on your
Hmm.
team. So, yeah, I'm excited for the fantasy season. And hey, preseason's coming up. We're
Yeah.
ready for the football season to start.
Hall of Fame game
Hall of
coming
Fame,
soon.
yeah.
But yeah, boys, comment down if you agree, disagree. You know, we should have had this guy in the list, or you would have him at a different number. Comment down. Would love to hear what you guys have to say. Um, Next week we're going to do tight ends. I'm not sure what number we're going to do yet
Yeah.
for tight ends, so we're going to be
We'll
brainstorming there.
probably add some more to it
Yeah,
on top of the tight ends. Probably, I would think uh, busts or breakouts or
yeah,
something to that
yeah,
effect.
yeah. But thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Peace.